turning attention now to a story that comes right at the heart of freedom of expression and, well, almost symptomatic of the polarized climate that defines our times. Now, a stand-up comedian and a comedy clip has triggered a heated debate on social media, putting young comedian Sharon Verma at the center of a massive online storm. Now, what really happened, that there was a performance where Sharon Verma read out a troll's comment telling her to go and wash dishes in the kitchen. Jao bartan dho. She then pointed out what she described as a massive contradiction, because this is the same user actually had Free Palestine written in their bio while posting deeply misogynistic remarks. In the same set, Verma also remarked that her comedy was being treated as more dangerous than Israel, a line that is intended to underline what she felt was a very exaggerated reaction to her words. And now what has happened is several Muslim social media users and accounts are accusing her of mocking the genocide. The criticism quickly made way for online abuse, threats, boycott calls, all of which actually started with a young woman comedian, pointing out the deeply misogynistic mindset that continues to prevail. All right, let's get in. Surabhi, who's a spokesperson for the BJP, joining us from Karnataka, and we have Asad Abbas, a political analyst. Asad Abbas, let me start with you. You heard the viral clip, which suddenly has found this young comedian at the center of a storm, with many saying that, well, she's actually supporting genocide. Is that what it looked like to you?
Gauriji, I've always believed with great power there's great responsibility and equal accountability. The fact of the matter, let us understand what are we speaking about. Palestine is an issue which is a catastrophe to the world.
She's speaking about people asking her to wash dishes.
Can I please complete my point, please? Thank you. This is an absolute catastrophe, and I'll tell you why. When it comes to Palestine, it's a very, very sensitive issue. One needs to be, before you take the mic or even come on television, we need to be very careful of what we speak. Because every word matters here.
Asad Abbas, the point is, if she's calling out a particular comment and reading out the bio of the user, which says Free Palestine, how is she then supporting genocide? She's just calling out a deeply misogynistic mindset. You should be supporting her.
Free Palestine here embodies a lot more things. Free Palestine means stopping of the bombing of the hospitals. Free Palestine means stopping the killing of innocent children and women. That is what Free Palestine stands on. For you to, I watched the clip, Gauriji, for you to say, okay, you can shine your bartan, but you can't speak on Palestine. The fact is, the same.
But the user said, go and wash your utensils. That's what the user said, right? She's reading out the comment.
I will answer that. I absolutely condemn any of the misogynistic statement made. I also condemn those who are insulting or trolling Sharon Verma. But this poor taste joke made by Sharon Verma is absolutely not okay. The same Bharatiya Janata Party will get inside and break the comedy theatres when it is Kunal Kamra, but for a Sharon, they will take free speech jhandas. This shows their duplicity and hypocrisy. Also, as a matter of fact, Gauriji, Palestine is a very, very sensitive issue here. Be it a stand-up comedian, politician, or even a common man. We need to be very careful of the words that we put out. I know she was trying to show that this particular man was absolutely misogynistic in his statement, but using the embodiment of Free Palestine.
The user had Free Palestine written on his bio, right? So she was just telling about this particular user. How is she supporting the genocide at all?
I will answer that. Gauriji, there are a lot of users on Twitter, now X, who are followed by Modi ji and use the choicest of abuses, call me Pakistani, call me a terrorist. Would I attribute any of that Modi ji is following? So this is equal to that.
We are talking about this young comedian who's telling everybody that get out of this mindset that women are supposed to be in the kitchen washing utensils all the time. And suddenly you've twisted the argument and taken it where? Surabhi, respond to what Asad Abbas is saying. You've got a lot of time. Let's get Surabhi to respond to what you're saying.
Every other year, there comes this sort of, terminology that the left, especially the loony left is what, I'm not saying it's a very common phrase, gets very obsessed about and very sensitive about. It was about gender for some time, gender dysmorphia, gender identity. Now it is about Palestine. say anything about Palestine, the only thing you must say is free Palestine. You shouldn't have any questions. You shouldn't have any, divergent views. You shouldn't make a very offensive joke around it. You absolutely shouldn't say anything. What Sharon said is something that many of us have been thinking about, which is that you say free Palestine, you don't want to talk about any other issue in the world. You don't want to talk about Hindus being killed and lynched in Bangladesh. You don't want to talk about the fact that within Syria there is continuous violence that has been propagated by different countries. You don't want to talk about apartheid in different parts of the world. You don't want to talk about Islamist violence. You only want to talk free Palestine, free Palestine, free Palestine on every situation. And you putting up or saying something, on social media as your bio cannot become the entire definition of who you are, right? Somebody deeply misogynistic can also be supportive of the freeing Palestine, which is what she's been right to call out. Which is that, look, you're telling me something, you're abusing me in the comments, and look at this cause that you support. Merely that. Why the sensitivity? Is somebody's Instagram bio going to change foreign relations or foreign policy? Why should we be so sensitive about all the things that are put up in a social media bio? That's precisely what the book is about. That's it. But you use those terms, you talk about Palestine in any way other than the way that it suits a certain narrative or an agenda, done. You are ostracized, cancelled. There is no conversation. Gauri, you cannot have a divergent view on the Israel-Palestine debate. You cannot.
Can I counter this point?
Cancel culture that exists within the left. If you question and say, are these legitimate photos, are the attacks, so on and so forth, have they been legit or not? Even that questioning in itself can get into so much conversation, but have that same conversation about Hindus in Bangladesh. Not one person from the left will even believe that can happen. No way. Islamists, there were times, it has come now, the videos, etc. are emerging. But when we spoke about Hindus being lynched or threatened in Bangladesh as soon as the Sheikh government fell, people were like, no, that's not possible. They didn't even want to believe it.
Can I counter this, Gauri?
There are certain topics that the left likes to discuss.
Can I counter this, Gauri?
Wait a second.
There's certain things that they don't. Certain things that people like.
No, this is not about left, right. This is about a young woman speaking up and talking about the challenge that millions of girls face. Every time they want to put forth their individual identity, their aspirations, their future, somebody or the other comes and says, "Jao bartan dho kitchen mein." That the place of a woman is in the kitchen. And if she counters that, suddenly there is a geopolitical aspect to it that is raised.
Gauriji, I'll answer that. Yes. I think my name was taken as Surabhi. I'll answer that. Gauriji, I tell you what, in my opening statement, I categorically mentioned and I condemned all those trolls.
You condemn this, you condemn that, you condemn this. ऐसे नहीं होता. Take a stand. The point is you take a stand. Let me ask the question. Asad Abbas, let me ask the question. Do you think this young girl, Sharon Verma, when she spoke out against misogynist remarks, you support her or not? Don't say, I condemn this, I condemn that. Take a stand.
I absolutely, unequivocally support her. There's a saying of Voltaire, I may not agree with what you say, but I will defend to death your right to say it.
So that's it, right? Then what is it that you are then outraged over?
No. Don't do a false equivalence here. There is no monkey balancing here. Please allow me to counter my point.
You are the one
Ma'am,
doing
you gave you did not interrupt when Surabhi spoke. I'm also a panelist on the show. Kindly allow me a minute.
You're speaking more than her, by the way, and you'll continue to get all your airtime. But make your point.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Just 1 minute. Thank you, ma'am. Surabhi ji is a very articulate intellectual. I know her personally. Ma'am, I agree with you on the front. What is happening in Bangladesh is absolutely wrong. It's a very sensitive issue that Hindus, my Hindu brothers, are being targeted, which is absolutely shameful and condemnable. But would anyone joke about it in any manner? You also mentioned about Islamist violence. Ma'am, no religion talks about violence. There is violence among people, not religion. Islamist violence, you say, ma'am? Do you know that 90% of this so-called violence victims are us Muslims? 90% of people killed by terrorism are Muslims.
I'm not interrupting you.
Now,
You're
just 30
speaking.
seconds.
But look at the tangent in which you are going. And then you are saying everybody else is doing monkey balancing except you.
Gauriji, 30 seconds, Gauriji. Just 30 seconds. Thank you, ma'am. The fact of the matter, let us understand. When the embodiment of free speech comes in, Sharon Verma is a public figure. She needs to be careful. The same Bharatiya Janata Party, which takes great offense on stupid, simple jokes of Kunal Kamra, now coming all in
Surbi,
support
respond
of
to that.
Sharon Verma.
BJP cherry picks.
This is absolutely
Surbi,
shocking.
respond to that. BJP cherry picks.
Look, there is a very clear understanding of, within law, there are very narrow definitions of what offense in terms of speech is or is not, right? In this case, as many have pointed out across social media, she has merely made a she has merely made a reference to Palestine and not taken any moral, perspective on it. She has not made and she has not offended anybody. She's really called somebody out who's actually offended women across, saying misogynistic comments and pointed out what's in their bio. That's literally it. I'm glad that Gauri picked up the gender angle to it and spoke about how, women have to face this kind of comments across. That's absolutely true. I want to take a minute to really say that any opinion you say, go back to your place, go back to the kitchen, eat, do what you're supposed to do. This is something that across generations, women online have to face.
This business of showing women their place. I can't believe in 2025, we are actually debating this. Every time something like this comes up, it's shocking that, we're back to talking about how somebody needs to put a woman down and put her in her place, show her where she belongs, which is the kitchen. Unless and until we rid ourselves of this mindset. No, Asad Abbas, no, sorry.
No,
You cannot. No, Asad Abbas, you are cherry picking. Asad Abbas, you are cherry picking. You are saying, no. What you are saying is, you are cherry picking. No, you are cherry picking. You are saying Sharon Verma is right. But when she talks about the bio of the person, suddenly she's in the wrong. She's not making up.
That's not the point here. That's not the point here.
The point is
not the point here. I'll tell you what the point is. I'll tell you what the point is. You do not make fun. You do not joke about.
Asad Abbas, talking over me is not going to solve this problem. Because listen to me, Asad Abbas.
Can I get 30 seconds, man? Can I get 30 seconds?
No, you can't. Till you don't let me finish, you can't. Till you don't let me finish, you can't. Everybody is watching that you're not letting a woman finish a point, right? This is about misogyny being called, and you don't even have the patience to listen to the question. You don't have the patience to listen to the question, sir. The debate is about misogyny. You can make it about anything else, but this is about misogyny. Learn to listen, Asad Abbas. No, learn to listen, sir. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask a question.
Okay,
this is what it is. This is symptomatic of the problem. Men don't let women make a point. You are drowning out the voices of women.
Would you say that to your family, man? Would you say that to your family?
Misogyny. You can talk about men about anything. I have a simple question.
Is that even a fair statement?
Surabhi, wait. Asad
Is that even a fair statement,
Gauri? Wait, I have a question for you, one line.
Before you make the question, stop making assumptions, man.
The question for you is, how can she call out misogyny till the time she points out the bio of the person?
Okay, I'm glad you asked me this question. Kindly, before any personal attack saying that this is asymptomatic of what I'm doing, Surabhi's testimony to the fact, the kind of respect I give to women. That's not fair to make a blanket statement for somebody's trolling and insults on me. I disgrace those statements made on her. I defend to death her right to speak. Those insightful, misogynist statements made by so-called Muslims are absolutely condemnable and shameful. That is a fact today. But the fact is, when you make statements on the Delhi Red Fort case, when you make statements on Pahalgam attack, when you make statements on Bangladesh, when you make statements on Palestine, kindly, I request the stand-up comedians to please be careful. People's lives are involved here. Children are involved here. Innocent women are involved here. Do make your jokes, but keep these topics aside, which results into catastrophe of people's life here. That is all I'm trying to make here. Nobody is supporting those insulting men who are a disgrace to society. Nobody is supporting them, man. And kindly do not give a blanket about me. I respect women. I'm surrounded by women at home. I'm brought out by great women.
All right. Now let's get Surbi to get a reply. Surbi, the point is that what Asad Abbas is saying is political sensitivities. Comedians need to keep those political sensitivities in mind. Freedom of expression cannot be at the cost of political sensitivities, as is the case with the person who says the bartan dho, but if I talk about the bio which is Free Palestine, then suddenly it is a very politically sensitive issue.
This is a false equivalence being made over here. There are jokes that are made not just about the country, but about different, the armed forces, all of that on a regular basis, which Syed Abbas seems to have forgotten.
Which is wrong, Surabhi, that is wrong.
Very troubling statements that come from opposition members on a regular basis, talking about, different religions, especially about Sanatan Dharma, constantly attacking. All of that happens.
And that is wrong. That's just
I'm going to end this here.
You are proving Gauri right.
I'm going to end this here. We are where we started with,
he has not
which is that a young woman called out misogyny. She's been trolled massively because suddenly it's about Gaza genocide that she seems to be taking a side on, which wasn't the case. We played out that clipping as well. Let's just hope that we move past this phase of women being shown their place every time they step out to do something more than just bartan dho kitchen mein. I'm going to leave it right here. Thank you so much, both of you.